Man, the Dodgers just have the Yankees number, do they not? I mean, at this point, it is not easy. Welcome in, Yankees Unloaded crew. Appreciate you being here, and I know we'll get Dodgers fans in here. I do cover the Los Angeles Rams after all. I'd be shocked if we didn't get any Los Angeles Dodgers fans in the process, but just want to say, appreciate you guys being here. It is a late stream. We're talking 2 a.m. here over on the East Coast. I don't know where you guys are in general, but it's late regardless. Now it's just late in general, right? So before we dive into it, just want to let you guys know that it is just me today. Gary did have a family emergency to attend to. So, he is unfortunately unable to make it. But everything sounds good. It's just he's not able to make it. So obviously wish him, his family the best, in this. And I'll try and hold it down. It figured, this is the type of game I would have had so much fun talking with him on. But look, it was a frustrating game. You get off to a great start. You have home runs from Aaron Judge. You have home runs from Trent Bonds, Paul Goldschmidt, right? Austin Wells swinging on the first pitch. Oh, it's a miracle. How about that? Austin Wells swings on the first pitch right down the plate, and he actually hits a home run. He should probably do that more. Yeah, today, look, this just feels, anytime these two teams play, anytime the Yankees have a Subway Series, these games just feel different. They just do, right? You feel it. It's like, it's kind of the comparison of like, a postseason game. And this was one that we'll remember. The sixth inning instead of the fifth inning, in the World Series, the sixth inning was just a wreck. But the big issue for me with this team and, with today's game was runners in scoring position. They went 0 for 7. So you're not going to win many baseball games when you can't take advantage of having base runners. You're just not going to win too many games that way. And that's ultimately the difference. You had a 3 for 7 day with runners in scoring position from the Dodgers, and the Yankees did not have that success, right? So that to me is what stands out. But also, I think we got to talk about it. I mean, you look, Max Fried has been the best pitcher arguably in baseball the whole year. The most he's given up as far as runs since that first game has really been, 2, 3? Today, he gets 6 earned. Okay. Of course, he didn't give all of those up. But anyway, point being, he ends up getting his first loss on the year. He gives up 6. Really frustrating day because you get off to a good start and it just didn't work out in their favor. Another thing that's really frustrating is Tony Gonsolin was horrendous. Okay. Horrendous. The Yankees were all over him and he comes away with a win. He had one good inning where he finally settled down and it was enough. It goes to show you how overrated wins are, because I'll tell you right now, Max Fried had a bad inning. Tony Gonsolin was bad the majority of the game. One went home the victor, and it's kind of just laughable in that sense that Gonsolin got the win. But the bullpen really didn't show up. De Los Santos, Tim Hill was just atrocious. It's weird because you look at the box score, it won't indicate that, but Tim Hill was not good. And yeah, it's just a frustrating day. Right. And we'll get more into it, but I didn't love the lineup to start. I didn't love Judge not batting third. I didn't love putting Bellinger in the 3-hole. I didn't love having Goldschmidt not batting second. So to me, Judge should always bat third. I understand he hit a home run today, but he should always bat third. He should. And the reason is because he hit the home run today. That's the reason. I want more RBI opportunities for him. Right? Runs are hard to come by in baseball. Now, the Yankees might lead the league in runs, or they did before this game, but they're hard to come by, and anytime you can maximize your run production, you should do it. I see a super here from Mark. Appreciate you, Mark. Boone was clearly holding on to the bullpen and the better pieces for the rest of the series so we can win the next games, right? Right? Only explanation I can come to with how he managed it. So I have to agree with that. That had to have been it. It was wild to have a game like this and send out Tim Hill, to send out Yerry De Los Santos. Wild. Just, I was not a fan of it. I liked the pinch hit opportunity initially with Escara. Then they switch pitchers and they go with DJ LeMahieu. Nobody wanted DJ LeMahieu in there. Yeah, it was a little frustrating altogether, and it really comes down to the fact when you hit 4 home runs to start a game, you should win almost every one of those games that you do that in. And today they just didn't. And you know what? I'll say this. A lot of people, including myself, felt like this was the World Series all over again, blowing a game you should have won. This was more digestible. It's not just because the situation, we're not talking about World Series, we're talking about a game at the end of May. No, what was more digestible than anything is that the Dodgers, you just tip your cap, they out-hit the Yankees. They had better opportune hitting than the New York Yankees, okay? They had 12 hits. The Yankees had 9, but the 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position tells me that they won the game by winning the game. The frustrating part about that 5th inning that we always bring up is that the Yankees just gave it to them. The Dodgers didn't really do much of anything. The hits were weak. They weren't even hits. They should have been outs, routine outs. A dropped pop fly, a drop line, soft line drive. Volpe throwing to third base and Jazz dropping the ball. Wasn't a great throw either. And then, Garrett Cole not going over to first base to cover the bag for Rizzo to throw over. These were routine plays they didn't make in the World Series. Well, this time around, they were just outplayed. I didn't feel like defense was the reason. I know Peraza had an error today. Really was not his best day. At the plate, I know he worked a walk, but this is where we start to go back into, does it make sense when you really think about it? Does it make sense to wait until the deadline, or does it make sense to add another bat? And that is a real question I'm asking. I don't know the answer to. Because the reality is this, you could wait until the trade deadline, but I think they could use another bat right now. They might also choose to look at it like Jazz Chisholm's coming back. That's our bat. Giancarlo Stanton's coming back. That's our bat. But I think they need another infielder. Pablo Reyes played today, okay? He was a defensive replacement because B-Boss got pinch hit by Jason Dominguez, and then Pablo Reyes stayed in at third base. Okay, it was a double switch or whatever. Here's my thing, okay? Pablo Reyes is still on the roster, wasting a roster spot. Okay, you definitely have an argument to go out and get another guy. I know Jazz will take up that spot, but then B-Boss can be sent down. It just feels like the bottom of the lineup right now is plaguing the Yankees. B-Boss and Peraza did not get hits today. I know B-Boss took one, really drove it out deep to the warning track, but no cigar. A lot of those, by the way, really frustrated stuff there. I thought Rice looked really good today. Obviously, the Austin Wells home run was great. He needed that. Judge was great. Of course, now, because Ohtani hit 2 home runs, we're going to, just act like Judge wasn't great today. He was. Grisham was great. Bellinger, down game. Volpe really struggled today, in particular. I will say in the field, he had a really nice double play. That was important. Goldschmidt, by the way, I want to point out Goldschmidt. We haven't quite leaned into giving Goldschmidt the credit he deserves. We always kind of gloss over it. Not really. I don't want to say we always gloss over it, but with Paul Goldschmidt, I want people to think about this, okay? The original thing was that the Yankees were going to go after Christian Walker. And I saw the comparison today. Walker has been dreadful for Houston. And when you look at Goldschmidt, not just the bat, not just the fact that, He's hitting 343, and he's got a over 900 OPS, and he hit his 6th home run. No. Look at the glove. Look at his decision making. Okay, we saw earlier in this game a huge play where he knows he doesn't have time to get over to first base and throw it. So he makes the throw to home plate and he gets the out. Now, I understand they lost the game, but we're going situationally here. We're going to talk about it from essentially the perspective of, yeah, these are good plays. And ultimately, when you have these plays, you're going to have optimal results the more and more you have these type of plays. And Goldie had a play that was very similar to the Subway Series. And it's a reminder what you have at first base and why you can't just shortchange defense. Goldschmidt immediately threw home, and he threw on target and accurate, and he set his feet, and he actually got the guy out. Okay? What do you think I'm thinking of? Pete Alonso. Remember he threw the game away? Jason Dominguez is coming home. He rushes his mechanics. He doesn't set his feet. He throws it, airmails it over the catcher. These are the little things that make Paul Goldschmidt one of the best first basemen in the league. These are the little things that allowed Paul Goldschmidt to win an MVP. Not that long ago either. So, frustrating day, but you're always, when you're doing a show like Yankees Unloaded, you're always going to talk about the other things that happen. It wasn't just all bad. There's some good things. I'm always going to give credit to stuff like that. I really love Paul Goldschmidt. I say it before. I'll say it again. With the LA Dodgers, like I always say, I cover the LA Rams. Goldschmidt being 37 reminds me of Matthew Stafford on the Rams at 37. You wish he just got to this team earlier in his career and you had a chance to appreciate him longer. But obviously Stafford's been around the Rams for a bit now. But the point being is when you get these guys at that age and they're still playing that well, Goldschmidt was literally the perfect fit for the Yankees. You just wish that they could have somehow ended up with him at one point. So, look, just wanted to give my props to him. That was a hell of a play. He had a home run today. I love watching Paul Goldschmidt play baseball, and obviously I know a lot of you do as well. But today really came down to this. Not only was it runners in scoring position, but the Yankees lost because the Dodgers are the only team all year, really, when you think about it, except for the Brewers, but that game was done. The Dodgers are like the only team this year to really get after Max Fried. So, again, you got to tip your cap. I don't think Fried had his best stuff, but they were still, they were hitting his stuff hard, even when he threw, some good quality located pitches. They did a really nice job against Fried. I got to be honest. I got to give them credit. They're incredibly frustrating. I am not a fan of the Dodgers at all. Do not like them. I don't care who likes to hear that. But you got to give them credit. New players on this team, and it still didn't matter. So it begs the question, Yankees, Dodgers, do the Dodgers just own the Yankees at this point? Sometimes you just have teams you're really good against, and other times you just have teams you're really bad against. Like, it feels like the Yankees randomly just can't beat Tampa. No matter how bad Tampa is, Tampa always gives the Yankees fits. Always. I don't know why. But when you look at the Yankees and Dodgers series, the Dodgers have won, 6 of the last 7 against the Yankees? I mean, I think it's premature, but they just seem to be that team. They get up, they're ready to go. When they play against the Yankees, you get a little bit of you get more effort out of them. I don't know. I do think tonight, with them losing when their ace was on the hill today, I do think they lost the series tonight. I do. Because I think Yamamoto, and Gary and I both agreed on this, I think Yamamoto and the Dodgers are going to get that win on Sunday against Yarbrough. Now, tomorrow, you got Landon Knack taking on Will Warren. I like Will Warren a lot in that game. There's one thing I was concerned with about Will Warren this year. After he had like the explosive, ascension as a starting pitcher in this organization, Will Warren's issue, I thought, would be pitching on the road. But Will Warren has shown you he can pitch at home. He can pitch on the road. He misses bats either way. You got to give props to that guy. And he's going to be on the hill tomorrow against Landon Knack. So when you look at tomorrow's game, it's not going to be at 10, thank God. That's a really late game. 10:10 on Apple TV. Tomorrow's Fox, 7:15. And it's Landon Knack against Will Warren. Landon Knack has a 5.22 ERA, 2-2 with a 1.36 WHIP. He's given up 6 home runs in 29 and a third innings. The ball was sailing out tonight, or at least early on. I would expect Knack to give up some homers to the Yankees. He's given up 30 hits in 29 and a third. Knack has not been great this year. He just hasn't. He also hasn't pitched a ton, right? So the last outing was his best of the year. So that's a good sign for him. He really shut down the Mets. They lost the game, but he only gave 4 hits, 3 runs, only 1 was earned. Before that, 4 runs, gave up 2 home runs, 5 runs, gave up 2 home runs to the A's and the Diamondbacks. I think the Yankees get after Landon Knack tomorrow. I think this is a little bit of a revenge bout. I think the Yankees win tomorrow. Will Warren is going to miss bats. He's also probably going to give up an Ohtani home run, because nobody turns the dial to 11 against the Yankees like Ohtani, at least in the regular season. It feels like as soon as it's the regular season, he's going to go off. Also, Teoscar Hernandez has really good numbers against the Yankees as well. But yeah, I trust Will Warren. I do. I think Will Warren kind of has shown you, pitching in Colorado, he unfortunately wasn't able to get through, the 4 innings because he only pitched 4 innings because of the delay. It was like an hour and 45-minute weather delay because of lightning. So he only gave up 2 hits. He had 2 earned runs. He had 7 strikeouts, plenty of pitch count. He was efficient in that game. But he's shown you the ability to play on the road and pitch on the road. And it's not just, he's really good at home. His last worst outing. So the last worst outing that he's had, like the bad outing, we'll say, he gave up 4 earned runs in Baltimore on April 28th. And in May, he has a 2.70 ERA. Okay. He's been very good. He's been economical with his pitches, and he's getting through batters, has 41 strikeouts in the last 26 and 2/3 innings. So I look at Will Warren. He can go to town on this lineup. He can really, miss bats, make these guys pay. And I think Warren is going to strike out a bunch tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes down. But of course, keep this in mind. Today's lineup, they didn't have Mookie Betts. That's also another frustrating thing. You lost them without Mookie Betts. He might play tomorrow. He stubbed his toe. I couldn't believe I read that report. He stubbed his toe and was unable to play today. No jokes aside, stubbing your toe is brutal. I'm not taking anything away from who he is, because depending on how bad you stub your toe, you might not play. So tomorrow, I feel good about the Yankees' chances of bouncing back. Just a couple notes here. Today, I got on B-Boss earlier. He did hit the ball pretty hard today. He had 106 off the bat on the ground out. He drove one out deep to, in the outfield. I just think at this point, the bottom of the order, they're not true bottom of the order bats. Like, these are guys that are hitting sub 200 with no pop. As much as I like Peraza is not going to get enough of an opportunity to continue this. If he can't get that bat going, He can't have an occasional home run and have that be enough. DJ LeMahieu also needs to get it going, because I've defended DJ LeMahieu. He's hitting the ball hard, all of that. But tonight, LeMahieu did not come through, and he didn't play, right? The flyout was terrible. Boone deciding to intentionally walk a guy to make it bases loaded. That was a bad decision. So tomorrow, hopefully they learn from this. This was definitely a big day for Trent Grisham. I think he needed this type of day to get him back on the high horse. Then you have Ben Rice, who played well. Was surprised you didn't see Jason Dominguez against a right-handed arm. Thought you would have, but it was a Ben Rice day, and I'm glad it was. He had a good day. But yeah, I think, overall, you're hoping Wells can build off this. You're hoping Grisham can build off this, and we move on to game 2 in this 3-game set. And by the way, once they finish this against the Dodgers, the Yankees do not go to the West Coast the rest of the year. So that is a big deal, when you look at it, because the Yankees will essentially be done with their West Coast trips, and they'll be able to kind of enjoy at least staying somewhat on the East Coast and the Midwest instead of going all the way out there in the second half of the season. So we are through with that. But just a few things, though. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate all the support. Gary does as well. Hopefully, we'll both be back tomorrow. If not, you will see me tomorrow. So there's that. But yeah, tough loss. It's not the end of the world. The Yankees also had a 5-game winning streak. It becomes harder to win when you rack up more wins. I know it sounds weird because you think, oh yeah, momentum would help. Yeah, but it also adds more pressure. And when you start having a win streak like that and you're ripping off 5 straight wins, yeah, you're bound to have a loss at some point. It's the same thing with a hitting streak. If that hitting streak is at 7, you're probably fine. Once it gets up to 15, you start really thinking about it, and it's harder the more and more rungs that you tackle. So 7:15 tomorrow on Fox. Again, Will Warren taking on Landon Knack. So let's dive in to our sponsor, ProfitX. We're going to give our picks for the Yankees-Dodgers matchup. So let's do that. Let's see what we can come up with. So look in here. We got... So tomorrow, I like the Yankees to win outright. So I'm going to take the Yankee money line. I'm going to go first 5 innings. I'm going to take the over on 4.5. And then I'm going to go with strikeouts. Give me Will Warren over 5.5 all day. I think that's great value. It's even plus money. That is wild. Will Warren has been on a strikeout tear. He's binging strikeouts like you're binging Netflix shows. And I think he easily goes over 5.5 strikeouts. I do. So I like him in that. Landon Knack, I'm not going to touch that. I want no business with that. Then I'm going to go with total bases here. We're going to go Shohei Ohtani. We're going to go over 1.5. I did say Aaron Judge over 2.5, and he did hit a home run. So if you followed that, then you would have gotten that. Aaron Judge definitely over 1.5. And let's go with one more here. Where is Cody Bellinger? We're going to go over 1.5. It was a bad day for Cody Bellinger, but historically at Dodger Stadium as the visitor, Bellinger hits home runs. He hits for average over 300. He has a lot of success. So today was kind of a down day for him. I expect him to bounce back and have a good one tomorrow. But that is going to do it. You don't want an hour and 30 minutes of me talking about a loss. I don't have much else to say. It was a fun game until it wasn't. That's about as simple as I can make that. But yeah, really appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Normally these are a little bit longer. In the comments section, if you could do me a favor, comments section, drop a comment on what you think about Gary, my co-host. Say something nice about Gary Sheffield Jr. How about that? So, comment section, drop a nice comment about my co-host Gary Sheffield Jr. And yeah. Thank you for the super there, Stockton. Dodgers are your daddy. Well, I guess we'll find out, but that is going to do it. Again, after this, don't put it in the chat. Don't put it in the live chat. Drop a comment. All right. Drop a comment after this ends. You're a nice comment about Gary. But that's all I got. So like the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later, folks.